Donald Trump is spending the weekend at his golf course in New Jersey. It's a change of pace from Trump Tower in New York, where he's been since Election Day. But the transition process is not slowing down. The president-elect arrived at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster on Friday evening. He is expected to meet there with several potential cabinet picks. Joining me now from our Washington newsroom is Sahil Kapur. Sahil, thank you so much for joining us with Bloomberg News. I want to ask you, Sahil, about Trump. He's meeting with Mitt Romney today in Bedminster. Mitt Romney fiercely critical of Trump during the campaign, at one point even calling him phony and a fraud, even saying that he was dangerous for democracy. So what's this meeting about?
You know, there's been some speculation that that Trump is going to be looking at someone like Mitt Romney for Secretary of State. There was initial speculation that it would be Rudy Giuliani, and it doesn't seem like it's not clear that that's going anywhere. So I think the bigger question now is whether some of these figures like Mitt Romney, who are well respected, who are clearly talented in a number of ways, are going to consider jobs in the Trump administration after they were very, very critical of him. The theory is that, you know, there was a time for politics in the campaign. Even a time for fierce criticism of the candidate. But now that he's the president-elect, a lot of these Republicans who were critical of him are considering whether they want to be a part of this and whether they want to try to steer the ship in what they believe is the right direction. So I think it's entirely speculation. I think what is going to come of this, but I think that's kind of the what's going on behind the scenes there.
Sahil, we know Trump is also meeting with retired Marine General James Mattis, who's under consideration for Defense Secretary. He's long expressed concerns about threats posed by Iran. What would it mean if he selected Mattis as his defense secretary?
You know, a number of Trump's transition picks suggest that he is going to govern the way he campaigned. So I think Mattis would, the comments he's made about Iran would further reflect his commitment to undoing the Iran nuclear accord. This is something that plays very well with the Republican base, and he just railed against this deal over and over again on the campaign trail. It's something he can try to sell to the general public as well, and I think the consideration of Mattis reflects that. You have someone like Jeff Sessions, who's been chosen for Attorney General. It's a very important, a very powerful job, and Sessions shares Trump's views on issues like immigration, on issues like trade. He also kind of comes from a nativist, nationalist background. He's even made some kind of racially inflammatory comments in the past that reflect criticism of Trump during the campaign and the comments he made. So a lot of Trump's picks and the people he's surrounding himself with sort of reflect the way he campaigned. And to the people who voted for him for that reason, that's probably good news for them.
I want to talk to you also about national security. On Friday, Trump named Lieutenant General Michael Flynn as National Security Advisor. He's made some pretty controversial remarks on Muslims. Let's take a listen.
I don't see Islam as a religion. I see it as a political ideology. So as I've studied it and I looked at it, I see it as a political ideology. Now, in a way, it'll mask itself as a religion globally, because especially in the West, especially in the United States, because it can hide behind and protect itself by what we call the freedom of religion, the freedom to worship any way you want.
Flynn's also called Islam a cancer. What signal is he sending by picking someone like Flynn?
You know, again, it's the same thing. It's the governing to the transition, and he's suggesting that he's going to continue as president in advancing the themes that he put forward during the campaign, in which he ran a pretty anti-Muslim campaign. He, in December, called for banning all Muslims from entering the United States. Then he kind of walked that back a little bit, but not definitively. It remained on his campaign's website through to the election. So I think that pick suggests that his administration is going to be very suspicious and very skeptical of newcomers to the country who are Muslims. How that translates into policy, I think it's fair to say, excuse me, it's fair to say that there's going to be what Trump calls extreme vetting of people who try to, of people from Muslim countries, Muslim-dominated countries who try to immigrate to the United States, or even perhaps try to come in on visitors' visas. Beyond that, it's unclear. It's unclear how far they're going to go with this, but it's definitely fair to say that civil rights groups are on watch to see if he may be veering into a direction that violates civil rights.
And another controversial pick this week, Steve Bannon as chief strategist. Bannon was quoted in an exclusive interview with The Hollywood Reporter saying, "Darkness is good, Dick Cheney, Darth Vader, Satan, that's power." What do you make of these comments?
Steve Bannon is an enormously interesting figure, and I think he could have a very important role in the Trump administration. Of course, as chief strategist in the White House, that's an important role on its face. But if he maintains Trump's trust and if he keeps the ear of Trump, then he could be an enormously influential figure. Steve Bannon, too, his background, of course, is running the website Breitbart, which has been pretty clearly in favor of Trump, which has shared his views against immigration, against trade, against globalism, and international accords, whether it's a climate change deal in Paris or the Iran nuclear deal. So Bannon's background also reflects a lot of the themes that Trump put forward in the campaign. It remains to be seen how far Trump goes with this and whether Trump ends up governing as somewhat of a more pragmatic figure, or sticks to his more fiery approach from the campaign.
A lot to watch. We'll be interested to see how everything unfolds in the coming months. National political reporter for Bloomberg Politics, Sahil Kapur. Thanks, Sahil.
Thank you.